Again, this is going to be edited,
Mm-hmm.
so if you need to take a minute to think, don't worry about it, about
Gotcha.
like a long pause. So,
Okay, you ready?
mm-hmm.
Hi, my name is John Thompson. I'm 46 years old. I had to think about that. Crazy. Hi. Let's start all
That's
over.
okay.
I know, it's crazy. All right. Name on it. Hi, my name is John Thompson. I'm 47 years old. I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. Um,
What
what
you're
I'm
doing.
doing,
Mm-hmm.
is I work with exonerated guys, men that's returning home from prison for crimes that they didn't do. I also work with guys that just returning home from prison. Period. What we try to do is help them with the transitioning back into society by helping them, providing them with the little simple things that most people take for granted. Getting their social security cards, birth certificates, getting them ready for job interviews. Some in some cases finding hospitals that would take them, or either a place to live. Um, I spent 18 years of my life in prison, and when I come home, there was not too many things available for me, and the thought of trying to help someone else transition smoothly like I did, I thought it was something that was needed, and so we created Resurrection After Exoneration. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my values, what I value family. I value friendship. Um, I value a word, a person that is able to stick with their word. I value a lot. Um, they always say talk is cheap, and so that's why I value word. Um, or you could tell a person, you could learn a lot from a person by what they say out of their mouth and what they do. So them the two things I pay close attention to. Um, a lot of people could talk their talk but don't walk their walk, and them the people that I'm afraid of. I'm more of a doer, so I like to look at people that performs behind their talk. Um, I value the relationship of a woman now. Um, after spending, I guess, all them years in prison without a woman, and looking at the relationships I had before I went to prison, I understood um, how I was totally in disrespect of myself into women the way I viewed it at the age of 22. I'm 47 now, but so I needed to make sure that was one of the things that I corrected in my life. It was the way I treated women. Um, now I understand them. Now I ain't gonna say I understand them. I can say I appreciate it. I appreciate women more, and I have a more deeper value and respect for women than I did when I was young, when I was a teenager. Yeah.
Um, just for the people who won't know, I mean, the people who are doing Terana do know, but you mentioned that you were in prison for 18 years. Can you tell us what your sentence was, what your conviction was, and, how you got out?
Um,
Not the specifics, but just
uh,
to clarify that you
all
were
right.
actually found innocent.
Yes, I was sentenced to death by electrocution for the murder of a important man here in New Orleans. To a murder that I didn't commit. It took 18 years for the truth to be revealed, through DNA evidence and exculpatory evidence that was withheld from the police department about the descriptions and witnesses that actually really seen or heard evidence at the time of the crime wasn't available for my attorneys during my first trial. And this information was made available to us through a dying man confession. And this dying man that confessed was the prosecutor that prosecuted me for a crime I didn't commit. That confession led to my exoneration after I spent 18 years of my life in prison. I come home, I was exonerated in 203, and in 206, I created this idea of helping my other fellow exonerees, such as myself, who had been exonerated after spending a number of years in prison, but still came home without any support. They didn't have the supporting cast that I had to represent me, to help me get through the hard times. So that's where Ray was created, and that's what I do now.
So this is kind of a crazy question because you were just talking about, being framed, really, and spending so much time in prison, facing death by electrocution, and then finally the truth comes out. But it's not even over then, because then you get out and you still have, all this stuff, this whole life to rebuild, and so much time that you were robbed of. But if you can think of just one story or one day, one event where you faced adversity in your life at any time. It could have been a kid, it could have been last week, it could have been at any time. If there's a story you'd like to share about facing adversity, how you dealt with it, which values helped you deal with it in that way, and looking back on how you dealt with that, would you, in retrospect, change the way that you responded at the time to that adversity?
Yeah, I can tell you what's lead to my work done. Yeah, I could bring up a story that have a little morals, had the same morals to this. In prison, when you sentenced in prison, whether you in there for a crime you committed or not, the environment is not going to change because you was innocent. So this environment that you was in is what we would call a hostile. Man, it's kind of like all, I'm just to tell you this because I'm thinking about Gregory Bright, exoneree, and thinking about his story. He described inside of the prison as like all the worstest creatures that you could think about, like Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers, all these people that brought all this type of destruction upon us. And when you put a person that's in that environment, when you put a person in that type of environment, you create a magnet that can protect yourself. So being placed in an environment with these characters in it, you have to develop a character. But you put on that character that you develop, you're not developing that character because you want to be that character. You developing that character to protect yourself. And in such an environment, and being in such an environment for such a long period of time, it become first nature. All right, and so now you done took someone that's a pope and made him out of a Hitler because of them. You couldn't put the pope inside an environment of this nature and think he gonna come out that pope if you leave him in that nature for 20 years. All right, and so one of the biggest things have happened to us and why we have a recidivism rate so high is because of that type of situation where you're taking something that is good and putting it in a bunch of things that are bad, and then one day out of nowhere you just release them. And to balance that, to be able to come back out after putting on all this suit of armor to protect yourself, and rules and regulations as to what it take for me to survive here is not the same rules and regulations that take me to survive out here in the free world. That changeover, that turnover is so un it's not being addressed right. It ain't being given the right weight. It's not being weighed in on that, meaning that first of all, without a doubt, once an individual come out of that type of environment, they need all the mental help or psychological help that they can get straight right away. It's like a emergency. It should be like first response, psychiatric help right away. There's no such thing as he all right. How can he be all right when he living in a zoo? You know, you put him in a zoo with tigers and lions, and you want him to be all right. You know, so you know that's the first biggest obstacle, or something that I thought that needed to be overcome by myself too. And it wasn't easy, and it still is. It's not a done deal. It's a work in progress, and it's some things I can identify that's jailhouse. I gotta back up. Right now, I'm still calling my living room day room sometimes. I say, go get that out of my cell. Telling my wife this, and I'm talking about my bedroom. I'm just showing you that because I was there for so long. I think behavior matter, how you react to certain things in public. I'm working in a professional capacity, but I have the tendency to in this professional capacity go into a jailhouse mood because of at least something that could tick me or make me react, instead of now knowing that I don't have to react. In prison I had to react, you know, and so now a person I could be happy and doing good. It could be had all the goodest news that could possibly come to me, and yet a person could come with something that I think is trying to harm me or hurt me in a way. Not that it actually will hurt me out here, but it would hurt me in the prison, and I would take offensive. I would get very, very offensive to it, and it shut me down. It shut me down from being who I really want to be. Only close friends around me could really understand it, and a lot of other people get very offended. So you know, it's something that I identified that I know that need more nourishing.
So how have you dealt with that? What are the sort of specifically the things that have contributed, to you becoming more like the person you want to be? And what are the values that sort of made those things the important things that have really helped you?
I think we're working and understanding that one of the things that we needed was psychological help. Being willing to go, being willing to be that guinea pig. And one of the things I do is, part of this me being a director, is before I try to bring something to others to be service, to see where they work, I would be that. Let's come to me. Come with me with your problem solving techniques. Things of that nature. That's how I went about trying to find what works for me. I can't say what worked for me gonna work for the next person, but I went through accepting the fact that I might need to see a psychiatrist. It was hard for me to accept that something is wrong with me. but I recognize that something have to be wrong with me because of what I've been through. So it wasn't the ifs and buts about do I need to see this. I took that step to see this. Through them visiting with the psychiatrist, I was able to start pinpointing some of my faults. And with that, I was able to start trying to look at how can I better them faults. And still to the day, I go to counseling and I get opportunities to deal with them hurdles that I'm still trying to cross. But not everyone gonna be willing to, and every one of the exonerees is not willing to sit down and talk to a psychiatrist. So I try to lead by example. You know, I try to show them that hey, it's all right. I went and talked to one.
So I know this is the IPNO office and not the Ray House, but just to sort of, if you would want to give just a very brief tour of the parts of this office that are important to you, or the parts that you feel that you relate to personally, and share a little bit about what this place is and why it's special. But if you would prefer to do it at the Ray House, we can reschedule and have a brief tour there.
Well, yeah, it's a two-part thing because over here, one aspect of the development of Ray is to take place. This is where we pretty much birth everything and do most of the leg work. So over here is where we call our office, pretty much, our headquarters, where we deal with all the pretty much, not the service aspect of it, but creating the service aspect of it, the infrastructure, as you may say. What made this kind of special is because this is where it all began. That, and I have a lot of memories in here on the board, all down the road. It's just a part of everything we did since we've been here. We almost like just keep letters from schools, thank you cards, some artwork. We try to put a little all of our history in here because we get some remarkable letters from when we go into these junior high schools and we talk to these young adults, and they tell us about what our story meant to them. That's a rewarding to me. So I love to keep that pinned up as a reminder of why I do what I do. Also, I have a lot of support here. This is the Innocent Project too. The Innocent Project is pretty much the mother organization of Resurrection After Exoneration, and most of our direct clients is from them, and is one of the reasons why they helped me find financial support because of most of the clients that is exonerated here in Louisiana is their clients, and it was a service that they caught themselves doing, and it took away from them helping other men get home. They wound up having to help the ones that they got home. You know, it's kind of like once I get them home, once I prove that they are innocent and they come home, they coming home to what? Nothing. And so therefore, the lawyers who was helping them come home, instead of them being able to move on to another case, they had to move on to how they're going to help them survive out here now. I have them home. I can't turn my back on them. If I turn my back on them, what usually happens is they go right back to prison. So this has been an inspirational place because I have a chance of getting to know most of the guys before they get here. And the support that they give me financially to do what I do. So
That's awesome. Is there anything else you want to add about anything at all before we wrap?
No. I think that's about all for the day. One thing is important though. I think the fact that other exonerees do get active involved once you bring them an opportunity, and I think that's what really is kind of scary about this whole scenario. is the lack of opportunities guys have when they come home from prison. It's not like they want to go back to prison. You know, that's one of the most drilled out of. You could throw that clean away. It's no such thing as a person want to go back to prison. Believe it. After all that physical torture most of them went through, they're not trying to go back to that torture. But at the same time, they do want to survive. They really want to live and live a health. They want the American dream just like everybody else wanted. They would like to have a job that can pay them a decent wage, not a minimum wage job where I have 5 children, 4 children in the house note. You know, can I pay or help my family with a minimum job, a minimum wage job? So yes, I understand that most of them is not educated. Most of us is not educated. Where we can get a high-paying job because the ones that educated and can get a high-paying job, them jobs is not available. So we running across a real scenario, a real serious problem. But I really believe that given the opportunities, if opportunities was available, we wouldn't have as bad as a recidivism rate as we have. I believe that given opportunity, we could accomplish just about anything. And that's what I'm about. That's what Ray is about, helping them find them opportunities to give them that chance.
That's awesome, Jason. Thank you
Cool.
so much.